uske beyond, when I went towards partnering with influencers, there were so many who would come up to my face and say, oh नहीं हम ये नहीं करेंगे, हम लंडे को promote नहीं करेंगे.
Today's guest on Founders Hustle is Sehrish Raza. She's the founder of BizBee, an online marketplace for pre-loved apparel and accessories. Sehrish made into the top 12 for her determination to bring a positive change in the fashion industry. So let's ask Sehrish how she will bring forth this change. Hi Sehrish.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for coming.
It's an absolute pleasure, honestly.
How did you get the idea about BizBee?
So it's a very funny story. It was about the time that I was about to get married, and I have been a digital marketer for 5 years. So social media was something that I spent a lot of time on. One day I was just scrolling through social media and I saw a girl who had put up her wedding dress for sale.
Okay.
Now that idea at that point in time intrigued me to no ends, because I knew how much money my mom was willing to spend on this dress I was gonna wear for one day. And then I realized that this is such a smart thing to do. So what I did was I started researching on whether a platform was there where I could have access to more dresses, where I could find something that I liked. And to my surprise, there were none. So that's where it clicked to me that this is a gap and this is a need that's there, but it's not being filled by anyone. So that's how the idea of BizBee was.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Sehrish, was that easy to start something really innovative? And what did you expect at the starting? Like, would this thing go or like no?
So honestly, it was, there were a lot of times in my journey that I felt like I don't know why I put myself in this position, because I was dealing with a concept that was such a taboo in our society. So my biggest obstacle and hurdle was to normalize the fact that, you know, it's not unheard of, or it's not something that would make you inferior if you go up and buy a second-hand apparel, or even sell your second-hand apparel. So that mindset and that shift that I had to bring about in the consumer mindset was the biggest obstacle that I faced throughout my journey. And the only reason where a lot of times I felt like giving up, because I got so much backlash from even people very close to me, saying that, you know, why would I end up, like, I don't need money, why would I sell my own clothes, or why would I buy pre-loved clothes when I could buy new ones? So that mindset shift, where I wanted people to understand that this is much more than just buying something that's secondhand. It's about promoting a concept that is going to support a more sustainable future in fashion.
If we go years back where you started your journey from, would this Sehrish like to advise something to that Sehrish?
Yeah, actually, that Sehrish was very haphazard. So I was very reactive in my approach. So whenever a problem arose, that is when I thought about solving it. So now, given a lot of the mentors that I've been around, a lot of the people who have supported me, I've now learned to be a more proactive leader. So I try to predict beforehand what problems could arise, and I try to fix them before they even come. So yeah, probably I was very reactive leader at that point in time, so maybe I'd want to change that.
And was there any setback moment, or, you know, battery down moment kind of, that no, Sehrish, I cannot do this?
Yeah, there were plenty actually. There were initially, especially when I was starting off. So firstly, my very close circle of people said, oh, you know, why would paise nahi hai, you know, why would you sell off your clothes? Kya masla hai, kya zarurat hai, ye to koi bhi nahi karega. And then uske beyond, when I went towards partnering with influencers, there were so many who would come up to my face and say, "Oh, नहीं हम ये नहीं करेंगे, हम लंडे को promote नहीं करेंगे."
Okay,
Yes,
that's huge.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those. But luckily, since I was a kid, I was very thick-skinned, so I was never the person jo mainstream, like who ran by what was happening in the mainstream fashion, anything. But I'm so glad that I had a very, very, very strong support system. Especially my husband, who is also an entrepreneur. So his experience also helped mentor me in a lot of areas where I felt like, okay, this is a dead end for me, what do I do? So that really helped me get through those difficult times, and now I think that ball has started rolling smoothly.
That's amazing. And where do you want to take Bisbee in the next 5 years? Where do you see it? Your baby.
So in the next 5 years, I see my baby going global. So after we've penetrated the Pakistani market, I'm currently looking into strategic partnerships for expansion into number one, Bangladesh. Bangladesh, because they're a market very similar to us. And even our own fashion brands are doing very well over there. So that is the first market that I'm looking to explore. The second market is Paris. We already have a very strong strategic partnership in place over there. So our next stop will be then Bangladesh, then Paris.
Okay, so Sehrish, what do you think how your business plan, Bisbee, is impacting other women's life?
Okay, so thank you for that question. So Bisbee has, for our sellers, impacted their lives in a way that I didn't fathom it would. So number one, they've started earning sitting at home from an asset that was technically useless for them. So they've started generating an earning sitting at home. That's number one. Number two, they've become financially inclusive. So what happened was, when women started registering on Bisbee, we had a policy whereby we could only transfer the money to them online. So unintentionally, a lot of the women that did come to our platform who didn't have bank accounts ended up opening their bank accounts. So not only did they start generating income, but they became more financially independent and inclusive. And like this, we have about 5,700 sellers who are registered on our platform, whose lives we've impacted. But I want this number to grow to thousands and thousands in the next year.
Okay, Sehrish, so you talk about sustainable fashion. So how is Bisbee promoting it?
So when I started Bisbee, I'll be very honest, the fact that I was going to be building a platform that would support such a big cause was not something that was in the back of my mind. But when I started researching more on the concept globally, I realized that so fashion industry, very few people know that fashion industry is the second biggest polluter in the world, right after the oil industry. So a lot of work had started being done to promote sustainable fashion in the global world, but we were not very aware of it. So currently, it was such an insane number that I came about, that to produce one piece of clothing, so one t-shirt takes up 2,500 liters of water, which is enough for one person to drink over 2.5 years. So there is such a massive impact that the fast fashion has had on the world, which is why there has been a massive shift of consumer behavior towards second-hand buying in the global world. So just when, for example, two people are exchanging clothes rather than buying new clothes, what you're doing is you're supporting circular economy, you're reusing clothes, and you're increasing their lifespan. So less amount of new clothes will be bought, less amount will be produced, and it will eventually lessen the damage that is being done to the environment because of fashion. So that is now one cause that we've very closely linked to our core values at Bisbee.
Thank you so much, Sehrish, for being with us.
Thank you.
And it was amazing to know about your journey.
Thank you so much.
This was Sehrish Raza, and she's the founder of Bisbee, and she's one of the top 12 participants of ABWE. And I would request all the women watching us, please encourage and support Sehrish in this amazing journey and in promoting sustainable fashion. Take care. Allah Hafiz.